Yeah, but like we kept coming here, like light. Somebody treated me, I said that to her. She got behind my back still with now recording a start.
Talking to me tonight.
Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Swaffham Town Council meeting, and happy New Year to all those that I haven't said it to. So, welcome and wrap up well because it's going to be cold out there. Anyway, it shouldn't be too long tonight because it's not a lot on the agenda. So let's hope we can get through it fairly quick and all get home and in the warm. So I will hand over to Lindsay for prayer.
Prayer? Right, prayer for the new year. Dear God, as the new year begins, we come to you and ask for your blessing. Strengthen us to bear the sorrows and pain we may encounter. Give us the tenacity to travel along paths that may be difficult. Take fear from our hearts when hardships come and keep our faith shining brightly even in the shadows. We give thanks for all the good things in our lives, and we wait in anticipation to see all that you will do in Swaffham for this coming year. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Yeah, receive apologies for absence.
We've got them from Caroline Ellerbeck and Graham Edwards.
All right. That's it. So that's everybody. The declaration of interest or anything on the agenda. Has anybody got anything they want to? No. Receive and agree the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on the 11th of December last year. You're happy with them? Yeah. Anybody not? No. Please show. Can you please all show? Yep, unanimous. Received reports from Norfolk County Council. I don't think William's here, is he?
We haven't received anything.
Haven't received
today.
anything, so.
Okay.
Bradland District Council, good. Judy and Jacob here.
The things on updates, obviously you've probably seen about Bradland's budget, which is out for consultation now, which is a 4% increase, £4.95 on a Band D council tax. Just to remind everybody that the Household Support Fund, round 6, is open until March for any residents who are in need of help with the cost of living in terms of energy, water and food. That's about it from me.
Not too much to add. Just as well, obviously, we're still waiting to hear more about the local government reorganisation plans. I think the county council have got a meeting tomorrow where they're going to be discussing and debating about requesting to postpone the county council elections for May. So we're still waiting to hear. The leader of Bradland has put out a statement this afternoon about the proposal. So I think that's probably been published on the website if you want to take a look. I think I've mentioned before about the new Boost programme for sort of skills and training that Bradland have put money into, along with some other councils. So I've had an email today saying that this week they've started a new employment programme for Watton and Swaffham. So it's a 10-week workshop where they're working with a group of people who have been referred. So I think that's still open for referrals. I think the details of that are on Bradland's website as well.
Thank you, Jake. Thank you, Judy. Any questions for Les?
Question about the proposed boundary changes. Do our Bradland councillors think that these proposed changes, do they see that they could still work for our relationship with you, the town council's working relationship with you to achieve our local governance?
I think that the boundary changes are part of an independent body. And originally Breckland had already put their views back to this body. It then came back again with the results that you've all seen. And obviously you can put your views forward. I don't think that's on the agenda next week, is it?
No. it's-
No. There's a good question. I think perhaps it's a waiting game in order to see, this is a personal opinion, this is, about how other things pattern out.
I think that the boundary commission's proposals at the minute. So there's consultation on that, which anybody can submit to. I think that's running to early to mid-February. So it may be that it's on Breckland's agenda for the February meeting to look at that. And obviously it's a big change for Swaffham because under the proposals you would then be Swaffham would be sharing a district councillor with the neighbouring villages, which means obviously sharing workload. You've then got parish councils to work with as well. But as I say, with all the uncertainties with local government at the moment,
you don't really know how you kind of got. It's a bit like my famous saying about working in silos. So you've got the boundary commission doing their little bit, and then you've got all the other unitary discussions and devolution that's going on over there. So we don't quite know at the moment how they all have got to gel together. I think it's a waiting game, Les.
Right. Can I just ask her? Do you, if you were sitting here as, say, the two southern Swaffham Breckland councillors, do you think you'd still be sitting here discussing things that are going on in the town that wouldn't be in your ward? You know, anything going on to the north, and equally, could you be sitting here as the northern Swaffham councillors, and would it's hard to see how you could be dealing with Arborough.
We already have 3 other towns that already have wards.
Yeah,
I think Swaffham and Watton have you?
yes,
No,
Watton
has wards.
Yeah,
no,
No,
no.
there's 2. There's 2 towns that don't have wards. And as far as I know, in my memory anyway, I don't think I've ever seen anyone in Dereham who's a ward member fall out with somebody who's a ward member in Scarling or vice versa. They all work together because we're all here for the same thought and want to move things forward for Swaffham. We're all here for the same purpose.
yeah.
And that is to work with you and, you know, and for the town and the district, it all has to gel together. It's just about devising up division of workload. That's how they're trying to do it. I mean, there's an argument that says, well, why has it been done north to south? Why hasn't it been done west to east?
So I think, as I said at the last meeting, if you look at Swaffham, all of the businesses, employment is all in one, is all in the north, whereas the south is residential. I suppose it would depend on sort of individual issues. If it's something that only affects one area of town, if it's about a specific area, then it would be down to that ward member. But I think in that scenario, if it's about issues that are affecting the whole town, then there'd be sort of collaboration between the two.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks, John. Yeah, I just taking up on this issue. What concerns me is the relationship between the town and the parishes that are going to be incorporated in these wards. There's going to be a tension there because our issues are quite different from, say, Cockley Clay or Sport. So how would you Sport in it?
No,
Sorry.
I think Spall is Launditch.
Yes,
Yeah.
Launditch, yeah. So
It's Narborough.
bit, yeah.
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 So, you know, I can see a tension there that you're going to represent one at the expense of another.
At the moment, there are district councillors
Yeah, we've got
who
got 8.
who have got 8 as many
Parishes.
10 parishes in their
but
in
not
their
a town. Not a town with its urban issues, as opposed to, you know, you're talking about mainly rural areas that are going to share very similar issues, but they won't be coincidental with our issues as a town. We're mostly urban area.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if Jacob Divide, for instance, we both on the south one, you would go to that particular parish as a separate meeting. That wouldn't not on
Yeah.
they won't be on the same day. Hopefully there shouldn't be any real, you know, discrepancy between the two. But
I'd also be concerned that we'd be represented by someone from the sticks, you know, they have no idea of our applicants.
yeah, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, yeah.
We've got the on the agenda later on anyway, so we would be, if there's any, I'd just like to say one of the things I believe is the numbers in each ward. I think they said it's something like about 18 to 2,000 per councillor, isn't it, Judy?
Yeah.
It's gone up since I was there then.
Yeah.
But it's doing that. But what I can't understand is why they're splitting Swaffham and adding a village like Narberth, which has got a fairly large population anyway. So I can't see where they're coming from on the numbers.
So they want to have about 2,200 people for each councillor, and you can have 10% less or 10% more
Yeah.
than that number. But they have to, and just in case you were wondering, that takes into account any sort of planned housing growth in the next 10 years as well. But it has to be 10% either way. So really it comes down to a numbers game and just making everything balanced, because you can, if you're looking at the map, and this was, I know they had some problems doing this, is if you say, right, we want to add that village to that town, well, then that affects the next ward,
Yeah.
because then they've not got enough people, and it just it's a balance really.
But please put your feedback in, because if you don't, the commission won't listen to it.
No. Stuart, do you want to add something to?
Yeah, clarification really. Yeah. I'm very confused, but allegedly Norfolk County is going to be the council. Redland is going to be swallowed up with Norfolk County. Is that correct? Devolution or what?
No, Suffolk.
So
Yeah.
it's not that Norfolk County Council Norfolk County Council is under this would be abolished in the same way that the district and borough councils are.
Right.
So both levels get abolished and then replaced with a completely new body. And there would probably be 2 unitary councils for Norfolk. Where that dividing line is, I don't know. And then Suffolk will have 1 or more unitary councils. And then you have another layer on top, which is Norfolk and Suffolk, where you'll have what's called a combined authority, which would be led by mayor of Norfolk and Suffolk.
Sorry, I totally misunderstood it then, because the way I understood it was you're trying to do away with a tier of council. You just said
What
you've
you have.
you've now got 3 layers or even 4 layers when you really haven't.
Well, yeah, but they're a slightly different makeup, and they are smaller. So the top tier would be perhaps, if you add all the districts together, there's an awful lot of people, isn't
Oh,
there?
yes, yes.
So, and also in Norfolk as well. So the top tier may be, it's hypothetical at the end of the day, because we don't know what's, we're balls up the air at the moment, isn't it? So you'd have your top tier and you'd have your 2 unitary authorities, Norfolk and Suffolk. And everybody who's currently Norfolk County and currently district, they would all gel together into this one. Oh, sorry.
I mean, as far as I can see, you can't ever accuse central government of common sense, because you operate at the minute as Bretland and Norfolk, and then us, town.
Yes.
But you're now going to change that and amalgamate them two, but divide them into four.
Nobody knows what's going to happen. I don't think there's any.
Why are we wasting 20 minutes discussing something we've got no
The
idea?
This is the boundary commission, nothing to do with the
It is, it's
regional.
deciding what wards
No,
things will
because
be
that
controlled.
wouldn't affect that at all. That was still, if it happens, whatever happens,
Yeah,
unless they done away with the districts.
okay, the boundaries commission, right? They divide it into so many different councillors per area. Yeah?
Yeah.
Who do they report to?
We don't know yet. No, nobody, I don't think anybody knows.
That was my point. We still don't know anything. So
Until the government make up their mind and give a report, I don't think anybody knows for certain.
I understand that the government's not great at making their mind up, are they? Apart from
Well, we've got it on the agenda
Well, a
to
few more-
discuss the boundary changes anyway, later on. So thanks very much for it. David. Steve. Just one
Well,
quick,
changing the subject completely,
Good.
getting from all that stuff back to basics. Did ask Jacob a couple of months back about sweeping round the islands, around the town and that.
Yeah.
He was
I
going to
did
look
pass
into
it on because you sent me the specific ones. It was Norwich Road, wasn't it?
in the town centre.
That was discussed at our highways meeting yesterday and it is been programmed in,
She bothered to do it.
but it's just programmed in. It's on the list.
so hopefully there's
That's
something.
now the decades, but
Okay, well, thanks. We'll wind that up then.
They're looking good.
Police, have we had anything from the police? No. Right, we go on to the public open forum. It is chance for any members of the public that wish to address the council or our directment councillors. So any members of the public?
You go.
Oh, I just,
Can you just say your name, but
Michael Harris, just citizen, yeah. Please define a unitary council. As I see it, it is just two layer,
So,
Yeah.
so rather than the services being divided between district councils and county councils, it's one
One.
council will do all of those services. You'll still have your parish and town councils, but you then just have one unitary council.
Yeah. So,
right, so I'll go back to what Mr. Leonard said, I just find it a little bit confusing, but just checking on unitary councils, it is a two-tier system. So what you're saying is that the system will still be there, but I guess it's just juggled around a bit, I suppose, for want of better words. And
well, like your services from Blackburn, which are your bins and etc., and you've got Norfolk with highways, all that would come under one. They would all be in one circle, and then you'd have a strategic tier, if you like, above that. But we're all, some of it's hypothetical because we don't know.
Yeah.
you know.
who does know?
It's a bit waiting. Well, someone does somewhere, I guess.
And
Yeah.
who do I ask?
Well,
Prime Minister.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
As I mentioned, it'd be the Norfolk County Council, because in terms of the discussions with the government about this, the district councils don't have any formal role at all. So it's the county council that are discussing with the government. So they've got a meeting tomorrow, the county council, where they'll be debating whether they ask for the election to be postponed so that they can then negotiate what's going to happen from here.
Postponed or eradicated?
It was formed.
I bet it's postponed for 2 years initially.
Okay.
I think the risk here is that you just make local government a lot less local. Seems to be shifting the decision making and the power further away.
Till we know it's all like
Personal point of view.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
a
thanks,
waiting game.
Okay. The lady in the front there, did you want to?
Yeah, Jim Manzer. I'm just wondering if the town council's got any questions for me. Because I think you all know who I am by now.
Yeah.
Okay,
So can
Jim
you
Manzer.
explain?
So basically, I put in 44 signatures to Breckland registration, electoral registration. for the election of a town councillor for the vacancy for Sarah. The reason that I've done that is because I believe that there should be a fair and considered vote on the next councillor. Co-opting, what's interesting is I've just seen on the agenda to consider and adopt a co-option policy and application form, which is obvious to many residents as often there isn't in place now. I personally would like to run for town council, but I also know that having spoken to a few people, not in this room, outside of this room, that there are other people that are also interested in running. And that's why I've asked for it to go to an election, because I believe that people should be elected in a fair manner and not co-opted on when there are several of us as candidates.
Should I ask Helen to explain the
So that will-
procedure?
that will Just Breckland will
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
taken over and it's up to them now.
Yeah.
All that, they'll do the polls, they will send out the notice, which I haven't had yet.
No,
The only reason there was a co-option application on here is because if I hadn't got an election, we haven't got a co-option policy in place.
perfect.
So
So
that's
then we-
why I've put it on there. So we
If
have
this body goes to election, if it happens
That would-
again, that would be for future.
an policy for future.
Perfect.
That's all
And
it is.
the,
John.
did get
Sorry.
a confirmation from Breckland this morning to
Yeah,
say that
yeah,
they've
that's
got
it.
the application and that they're going, it will be updated on their
And they
website. So
take
I,
over.
they'll,
That
yeah,
would be
they'll
it.
know.
My question.
There you
I
go.
was going to ask if you got it.
Yeah, I did. I got it this morning from Alex Elliott to say that we confirm that we have received the document sent by containing the elector request for an
Right.
election.
So
Good on you.
So we'll wait until hear from Breckland on that one. Is that all you want to say, John?
Yeah, I was interested whether the lady had got her
Yeah.
thing in on time. Yeah.
Anybody else from the public wish to comment? Stuart, go on first then.
Sorry, I was just going to say that it's a shame that year we had the full elections.
Yes.
You didn't apply then. Is there anything I
I'd
can
only
say?
just moved into the area just then and I'd just lost my dad. So
Because we were very short
Yeah.
on the ground.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
would have been lovely.
Thank you. We'll see where this goes.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think it should be fair and above board and everybody have an equal chance.
Yeah.
I think if
Agreed.
Breckland have had the number, I think it's 10, isn't it?
44.
You've had 44 apparently signed up, so
No, she told me.
it's almost certainly there will be an election.
No, there is, we've had the notice.
Yeah.
It's a nice school.
Okay. Anybody else from the public wish to comment on anything? Ask a question? No? Okay, we're going back into session then. We've seen a report from the mayor. I haven't done a lot really since I last reported. We went around the market and gave out a mince pies and a report right round to the market trades. They're all pleased with it, especially the warm mulled wine. So, you know, that was very nice to do, and I think they're all fairly happy. I haven't really done it much else since then. I've been, yeah, before I've reported on that before. Yeah. So it really, everything's going well. I've got a couple of things coming up in the future, so watch this space. Helen, over to you.
I was just going to say that I'd had a notice from Breckland that there will be an election. We've covered that now. Nicola has taken over the role from Phoebe as Community Engagement Officer, and the vacancy is on the website, and we're having lots of people apply, which is good. Lots of good applicants as well. So we hope to have that filled in the next few weeks. And that's all I have at the moment.
That's for a member of staff, not for the council.
Yeah.
Anything else? Helen?
No.
Okay.
Receiving consider late or open, I don't think I've had anything at all, have you?
No.
No?
With the late election thing.
Well, we've
There's
covered
nothing
that.
to consider on there. It's just a notice.
Discuss consider correspondence, any received anything, Helen?
Everything we've had, you've received at the moment. Agent has come in.
Consider and discuss Radburn regarding car parks. This was brought up at the last couple of meetings about possibly the town taking them over. We found out that the exorbitant amount of money it would cost us to do it. It was suggested we set up a group to look into this, but where we go from here, who knows? I'll throw it home to anybody who wants to make any suggestion. Stuart, thought you would.
Well, I, the one who instigated it, and I'm the one who looked at the demands of Breckland, what we should be doing with our car park, because they do exactly that. And there was a list of 20, 25 items that they gave me. I think it was actually probably today to complete a whole 10 days or something like that. Whereas where they've had consultations, we've had all sorts of things that have been ongoing for months and months and months, but they expect unpaid people to be able to provide all the information they require within 10 to 15 days. I think that's very unfair. And the numbers, well, I looked at, and it is possible that we could afford it, but I wouldn't be able to envisage knowing everything within 2 to 3 weeks like they've requested. What was 2 or 3 weeks,
I
Helen?
think the email was to help you to think of the things that you have to consider if you take on the car parks. That was there. Well, you know, they do need to know, they want to move forward with it, but it was also, these are the things you have to consider. I think it was more of a,
Quite correct. Yeah, I understand that.
yeah.
And I mean, basically, CCTV is still there, so security is still there. It hasn't always been there in Breckland's entire time. The fact that the safety of the car park, e.g., potholes, etc. I reported one when I was mayor a year and a half ago, that there's some steel bits sticking up at the tarmac. Still hasn't been attended. So why do they try to preach when they can't do it themselves? So I'm sorry that we really do need to be able to sit down, but time's up. Unfortunately, they've made their decision, like every other decision they've made before they consult us. So therefore, what can we do?
Les.
Yeah, I read through the list, and the biggest point on the list that I had trouble with is saying what the benefits would be of owning the car parks. I struggle with that to work out a really major benefit to actually owning them. You know, would we want to own them to manage them better, or is it the idea of ensuring that car parking is free because we would own it? In which case, the cost of that seems really, I don't know how you could manage it without running into debt on it myself. I mean,
What are we looking at cost wise?
Sorry,
80,000
and it's minimum of 80,000 a year.
and 22,000 of that is business rates. So that's why on earth do you have business rates on car parks when they don't produce any income? You know. Yeah.
The other thing is, if we took them on, we'd have to do all the maintenance and pay the rates and that sort of thing. And if we needed to charge, we would have all the costs of putting in the slot machines and all that sort of thing as well on top. So, you know, there'd be a very big capital outlay to begin with, right from the word go. I think it's a non-starter myself as far as the town. I don't think the people of the town would welcome us putting another 100,000, which I reckon it would add up to in the long run, onto their council tax. Graham.
Well, personally, I wouldn't take it any further because I think we have enough burdens upon our resources without any more. So I wouldn't vote for it. So sorry.
Yeah, David.
I kind of agree with what Graham said. We need to see what the figures are, if they add up, and need to make a profit. And if it doesn't make a profit, then what's the point? If you manage properly by Beckman, sure. The maintenance isn't being kept up to date, then why isn't it being kept up to date?
Right,
Yeah,
I'll come in again. Right. I know it's a totally stupid idea, off the wall and everything else, but we have the HAS project. How much did we spend in Swaffham on new front shop fronts, etc. To and all the things that we did to try and encourage people to use our town centre. Well, we spent that money. What we're going to do now is you want to come to Swaffham, you're going to pay. You can pay. It's okay. We don't mind. But if you go to an out of town shopping mall, you ain't got to pay. So the idea is to try and build the community, the shops, etc. I know we get nothing from the shops. Business rates go directly to central government, a portion to county, etc. So, but the idea is we try to help the town centre. Yes, you can appreciate that we are here to try and make a community a nice area. People want to come and shop. They park in the town centre for 2 hours for nothing. What is wrong with that?
I will argue against that. We'd love it to be free. We'd love to have an open door sort of thing for everything, but could we afford the amount of money that it's going to cost us to do that? And I don't think we could. But that's my personal view. And who else have we got? John.
Well, I personally, I can't see any point taking it on unless you're going to make them free. I mean, surely that's your point, Stu.
Yes.
But how do we pay for this?
Yeah.
How do we pay for it all? Where's the money come from?
Council
That's what I'd like to know.
Top of my head, town centre free, 100% free for 2 hours. The two car parks, Peddlers and the Market Square. The one Theatre Street, £1 a day for those who want to park there. £1. Nothing that I work in the town. I park on Theatre Street. It's going to cost me £1. That's not going to kill anyone. The park, the lorry park, there isn't a lorry park, there is a lorry park. You charge those for parking because they don't care because they get it back from their taxes. It's a tax deductible expense. There's lots of ways that if you actually think about it, you can do it.
John again.
Someone's got to sit down and think about it.
Exactly, but
you haven't done that, have you?
Yeah.
I mean,
you
could have.
John, I was given 10 days by Breckland. I'm sorry. No, they don't pay me to sit there in offices for hours and hours looking up figures and numbers.
But we could put in a bid at any time, could we? Could I ask Helen, would that be so?
I think
that
was there a deadline?
I think they're trying to move forward with this consultation.
For the consultation, but what about us taking the car park over? That isn't a deadline, is it?
I don't think there's a.
They wanted to know all them facts within, I think it was 10, was it 10 days when they emailed it to me?
No, I think it was about 3 weeks.
Well, I was waiting to be called on, Stuart, to work on a working party with you. And that went round to all the councillors. And we didn't have any working party.
I was told this just before Christmas. When they was all off on their jollies, they expected us unpaid people to sit down for hours upon hours doing facts, figures, numbers.
We
For them.
You've said that several times.
I know, well, of course I'm going to say it several times because once again you keep going, we can't afford it. You don't know that.
Take Graham. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to make a proposal that we don't take it any further, whether I'll get a second.
Yeah. Well, I would second that. Well, 2 or 3 of us would second that. So is there any counter proposal?
Not a point.
Okay.
My next question.
Sorry, so we put it to the vote then. Those in favour of status quo virtually, isn't it? That's what you're saying, isn't it, Graham?
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So those in favour?
Abstain. And that Tom.
Hang on. Those against, but Stuart, and those abstaining. For abstaining.
Well, enough information.
Okay on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't say, so we don't know that Brecon would even take the offer of us taking them over.
Yeah, we do.
They would jump at it.
Paul, I'm sorry.
Yeah, anyway,
I'm sorry, Paul, can you just correct that? The email said, yes, we will let you, but you've got to jump through this, and this, and this.
Soup and a big bill. Anyway. Go on to the next slide. To consider date for details for Christmas lights switch on for 2025.
Lindsay, did you want to lead on that?
I'd like to, yeah, I
Yeah,
did say to
okay.
you for Christmas, I'd love to do it. Yeah. Have we got any dates in mind?
Yes,
shall we
it was the 28th of November, the first, so the Friday was the 28th, so it'll be the 29th and 30th weekend,
Right.
because the 27th was a bit late, we said, didn't we?
Right.
Anything else on that?
So it's Lindsay, are you just gonna lead on that?
Yeah.
Yep, so Lindsay's gonna lead on it and you'll set up the working group and go from there.
What days? That's okay.
Do it.
What was the date? Sorry.
28th of November,
29th, 30th.
That's the weekend.
29th and
Tell me when
30th.
it's gonna be. Yeah.
So it'd be a Sunday,
I think Sunday would be preferable.
because you couldn't have a Saturday because we have a market.
Of course, no, Sunday would be preferable.
So you're talking Sunday the 20, wherever it is,
Sunday the 30th.
clashed with East Dereham. Yes. Theirs is always the last Sunday in November,
Do we want,
apart from this year when it got cancelled because of the weather or whatever.
we go,
So with your group,
is it
There's always gonna be
But
some.
I'm
you've
thinking
had clash
of
with
this
some,
year.
somewhere along the line.
for the people in the town, aren't we, rather than the people of Deer or the people of down?
I've got you, John.
Is there going to be, as a follow-up, there's going to be a working group, is there for the,
Well, Lindsay's heading
Lindsay's gonna lead from it from now, yeah.
right? So could we leave it to them to come back to the next meeting and tell us what they think
What about the dates?
about the date?
Yeah.
Stuart, what dates are you free? Because I had a lot of people say that they missed, some of your fair or the fair. So,
There was some fair then.
yeah,
Limited.
but,
Um, well, you see, the Friday is not the ideal day purely on the grounds that everyone coming home from work.
Yeah.
They don't have the time to quickly get rushed, change, have their tea, get the kids cleaned and out. So really Friday is not the ideal day.
I know, Stuart.
The first Sunday is always Easter and down market, I believe. I know it's guaranteed it's Dereham, which is a bit too close because we do.
I think the thing to do is let the working group go back and discuss this and perhaps come back to us at the next meeting. Instead.
Considering all the time and everything I put into last year's Christmas lights, and I said about a working group, and nobody wanted to involve themselves.
I did.
It was when you did, there was nobody that to fit into it now. By all means, let Lindsay do it. But where was my help when I needed it? And the Friday, I'm not being funny. The Friday, there was a lot of people turned out on that Friday night, more than what we expected.
And we got a very good feedback.
Yes, we did.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that, and obviously it was thingy for your fairground to be on the car park. I know because of the roads and everything, but to say about like a Friday sort of thing, I thought it worked okay on that Friday, and we did years back have on a Friday, and there was a massive turnout, weren't there?
I'm saying is the Sunday is that particular Sunday is not really ideal.
But then we can't go.
The Friday is not a perfect day. A lot of people did ask why have you had it on a Friday?
Yeah.
We always have a Sunday.
Could I suggest that those that have got an interest in this or would sort of liaise with Lindsay to get a date for a
I
submeeting?
was asked a question,
Yeah.
but can we not make it the following council, not this next council meeting, not the next
Whatever, that's up to you when you
March
up
time,
to the group
rather
when they come back.
than February meeting?
Do what?
Well, having a working group together to discuss
I
it.
think we need to do it fairly quickly because time's getting on, isn't it? So.
Well, no, Christmas is still December next year. We're all
But
right.
things need to be secured and commitments need to be made, don't they, very early.
Well, can we leave it with the group to sort that out? Is everybody happy with that, John?
Lindsay, are you going to be, you'll be mayor next year? I mean, are you going to take this all on?
Right. Nothing else on that? Just contemplate draft recommendations for the wall boundaries. I think we've discussed this quite a bit. Is there anything else that anybody would like to add? The closing date is the 24th of February. You've got roughly about a month.
Oh, you've missed one.
So from the primary academy consultation,
Sorry,
you just need to
give me a kick.
draft response.
Yeah, draft response. So over to you on that, Helen.
And we've all seen the consultation.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I think we should support it, actually. Yeah, it seemed like a very good idea.
Yeah.
I just think it's a
Extended.
shame that the state seems to be taking over a role that should be the parents of 2 and 3-year-old children. I mean, surely the parents should be doing that, but that is the
way,
that's the world we're in. I think it is sad.
yeah. Anybody else got any comments on that? Les?
I agree with John, but I've got a question, a technical question on the how will the nursery run? And I don't know whether anyone can answer. It says that there will be places fully funded, which makes sense, but how does a split funded place work? Is it does that?
Nicola can answer that.
So it depends on the age, depends how many hours you get. Some people only get 15 hours funded.
Right.
Some people get 30 hours funded.
Yeah.
So if you only get 15 hours funded, then you can pay the extra to put them in for the full 30.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Everybody happy to go along with it? Yes?
We need to formally say it.
Do we need a formal,
So just propose to support it and everyone,
Yeah, please. Yeah.
everybody happy?
Yeah.
great,
Yeah.
thank you.
Sorry, I missed that one. Discuss correspondence recommendation for ward boundary. Closing date is the 24th of February. I think we've discussed this quite a bit. I don't know if anybody's got anything else they'd like to add further.
We ought to, we've got till the 24th, so we've got another meeting, haven't we? So we need to consider it, really, don't we? I've done my own personal one back to the Boundary Commission, and I'll urge you all to do that. But as a town council, I think we've got skin in the game, haven't we?
Yeah.
It does affect us, and it affects the way the district councillors represent us. I'm not happy about it, to be honest.
I don't think any of us. Les Graham.
Yeah, I'm not entirely happy. I agree entirely with the idea of rearranging boundaries to achieve a more democratic. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. But it seems to me that there are obviously lots of different permutations to achieve that, and just drawing an arbitrary boundary across the middle of Swaffham that leaves the bottom half connected to a lot of outlying villages and not, there's nothing, if you like, in the south except residential and some schools, whereas the northern part's got all of the marketplace, the employment, the high street. It's all in that bit, and all the future developments all in that bit as well. And then you're connecting it to Narborough, which is really a separate entity. It's another village that's due to expand in the planning. And we've got our neighbourhood plan covers the whole of Swaffham within the parish boundary, and we use it a lot in our planning, and it's nothing to do with Narborough, that's separate. There's quite a lot of things go on in Swaffham that are separate from the other villages. So I would be, as well as having done my own response, I would like to see the town council make a response that highlights those problems for us as a town.
Graham.
Well, I was just unsure on numbers when Judy and Jacob responded. Were you talking about 2,800 plus the head of population that make up the boundary, or
It's two.
or was it properties? I'm not sure.
The idea is that for each councillor, they represent, I think it's about 2,200.
2,300.
Yeah, but we've got nearly 8,000 people living in Swaffham.
Yeah.
So we wouldn't want anyone else, would we?
Well, we've got more. There are more. We could do with another councillor probably in in the future.
John,
It's the case, isn't it? You don't have 4 councillors,
No, we've got 3 at the, so that would be 2 at the south and 2 in the north.
because no other
Yeah.
ward has got more than 3 councillors.
No,
That you don't, that's a difficulty here, isn't
yeah.
it?
Yeah, overall, they're trying to move to one member wherever they can.
anybody else like to comment? David, so sorry, what?
Liz was saying, chopping it in half and then borrowing some people from Narborough to make up the numbers. Why not just leave it as it is and then you've got to borrow people from Narborough to make up the numbers? Madness.
Yeah, I think Les is all right, but the only thing I would say is, I can remember when I was a Brecon councillor a few years back, we went through all this before when they wanted to ward Swaffham before, and we managed to squash it then, so hopefully Catherine can squash it this time. But I don't know, it's numbers, isn't it? Les, would you like,
Go on, you were saying, sorry.
I was going to ask Les if he wants to make a proposal, but if you want to say something first.
No, I was going to say, I propose that Les and John and maybe anybody else that wants to come up with a formal response and put it to the next council meeting.
Am I right in thinking that we're all against this plan, split Swaffham into and adding villages? I think we're all unanimous on that, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we come up with some sort of response. I don't know if you want to liaise with Les or anybody else that wants to.
John, yeah.
Would everybody be happy with that?
It's certainly.
That could come to the next council meeting.
Well, the response got game 24th of February, so yeah, we could just about get it to the next meeting if necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody happy with that?
Yeah. Policy application form. So this is from you, Helen. This is just a
Just the standard policy that I've done, yes, with all your policy and an application form if we ever have to have a co-option.
that's our
Just out of interest, don't you have to be a British citizen?
Yes,
Yeah.
it says that all in the
Oh,
policy.
on the policy.
all in the
I can
policy.
see.
on spot and town council, you have to live or have property within or business within the town. Yeah.
See the part which I British citizen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so really that's already within the national policy, isn't it? So is it, are you happy with that? Are you all happy with it? Helen? Not really. We adopt the policy? No, John.
I think it should only be residents.
Yeah, I agree.
But that's a policy, that's not our
That's-
policy,
That's
that's
not in law.
the national,
Policy, but
that's
I
local
think it should only
government.
be
You
residents.
can't change that.
That's national law.
People from outside, you know.
Yeah, only people from outside, if you've got a business or if you own property within the town, then you qualify.
The Local Government Act, we can't change
Well,
that.
I assume it is, yeah, but I don't think much to that.
All right.
So we all agree.
Yeah, everybody happy with the policy?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Obviously, it probably won't come into effect on the one we've got present, but in the future. Go on to finance, then to receive receipts for December 24.
Oh. Nicholas danced to it.
Shut up. Sorry about that, everybody.
Have you got any questions?
Any questions on the accounts?
I've got some questions. I can't remember which one they're off, but I'll start.
Yeah.
Please do.
Right, number 764, 950 quid, what we spend on.
Sorry, whereabouts is this? Hang on.
What's the numbers, Stuart?
It was on the last few.
It's got the whole paper.
What's it on here?
You know, people are,
Helen's bringing it up on the screen. No.
Sorry, was it 900 and?
764.
764.
Is that on the interim or the final?
It was on the last lot that come through.
No.
It was 950 quid. I just wondered why it wasn't to,
Oh, yeah,
Was one, girls, can.
What number is it, please?
that's general maintenance, isn't it?
yeah, it says general
Eight oh
maintenance,
two,
but
Helen?
Oh, right, 82.
that's a big
Not
lot
sure.
of maintenance.
It's the only one I see.
802's website, no? No,
It's CK Engineering.
Yeah, that's the one. Thank you.
Yeah,
Ray.
802.
yes, that was the barn. It's,
What we,
the last roof problem we had before we,
oh, this was the barn. Hello. That was the barn before we,
handed it over. We had a little bit of work to do
Okay,
up there, the
that's
roof.
Sorry.
Yeah.
right, now there's a 816, 810, 75, whatever. Right, I think they're all to do with the market. They say
Yep.
refunds. Is that a refund when it's a minus?
Yes, it's the licence bonds going back.
Right.
Some of them have retired, haven't they?
Yes. Oh, I
So
didn't
their
know.
licence bonds.
Running.
Okay.
Yeah, it's their licence bonds.
Is he retired, is he?
Yes.
Listen, never mind. Right, right, electricity. I do keep asking, can we
Yeah.
have a name of where it goes to, which bit it's supplied? There's one that says market. I can understand that because it says market. The others, they don't have a clue who uses all the electric. I did ask last time, and I was assured that.
Yeah, the only thing is we have to change our whole scribe, so I can change it from the 1st of April when I go into a new financial year.
That
And
would
if
be
I
lovely.
change it this year, it's going
At
to.
least we know where the
Okay.
electric bills are coming from.
Yeah.
Yeah, silly one. CPRE, that's
That was what you, yeah, yeah, yes.
the Norfolk Fund, whatever it is, to protect our,
Yeah.
I mean, I know we pay a whole fiver for it.
Mhm.
But they do no good.
You agreed to join the alliance, didn't you?
Apparently
They're
they're coming
coming
to
to-
the meeting.
Sorry.
They are coming to,
Sorry.
being represented at our meeting.
We've got miles of solar panels going up on perfectly good farmland. I've got a same school next to me on perfectly good farmland. Why are we even supporting things that aren't doing any good?
Do you agree to join it in the November meeting?
That's why I don't mind doing it. It's
Well,
just the fact that what is the point of them keep spouting and us paying? Well, not us, the residents of the town, when they're not actually accomplishing anything.
Well, we're hoping that they will when they come to the meeting. It was in about 2 weeks' time, isn't it?
By which time we will have a solar farm. Oh, by the way, there was a article, a lady fought for 3 years against a solar farm and finally won. She had it all stopped, and that was a maker's one. So there is hope for us. Sorry.
Anything else, Stuart?
No, that'll do for today.
No, anybody else got anything on the receipts for December? No, so everybody.
No, I have got one.
Oh, right.
Look at the gift course the other day. 7-7.
Sorry, you got a number.
What's it, a
On
receipt?
receipts.
Yeah,
777.
128.
He said,
Yeah, that's your section 38 from Cerise Rise.
so what I'm thinking, did we get a similar sum from Redlands?
Yeah, but that's section 106. That's different. Section 38, you don't have to use it on what we've got. And that's in our budget meeting on Monday.
So all the other street lights we've taken over aren't section 38.
You haven't taken any, this was one of your last ones to take over.
What about Persimmon?
Where's that?
That's opposite.
We
Don't-
chose,
The other side of the road.
we
Don't-
chose not to take
Take
on
that
the
one.
lighting for any
Take that.
new
This
developments.
is like years ago that we've been
Why
waiting.
don't we? I mean, if we're making money like this.
Decision of this
You've got-
council.
Come on.
Streetlight policy that says you don't want to do that.
But I think that was under, we thought we were paying heavily for taking it over, but this looks like it's a no-brainer. I mean, 128,000. For look at actual few streetlights.
Yeah, but I don't think we get that every month.
Roads. How do we work that out?
I think that's a question perhaps for the finance meeting.
Yeah. No, it was agreed. That's what it was agreed. So
Well,
you've got that money.
I'm-
You don't, it's not like section 106 where
I
you
was-
are.
I was just wondering if it looks too good to be true.
No, section 30, so you've got that. Your section 106 you can only use is earmarked for the grass cutting at what Abel's saying, section 4 that you've taken on. Section 38 is different. You've got that money there that if you had to replace the street lights in whatever many years, but
Well,
it's
that-
not earmarked to you, so that can go in our reserves.
But the other side of it is, will that money, the interest on it, pay for the electricity?
That I don't know because we haven't.
We need to know what the
Yeah,
running
yeah,
costs
yeah,
are
exactly.
before we spat this
Yeah.
away on other things.
So if there's no more questions on the payment accounts for December 24, can we have a show of hands of approval?
Yep.
Everybody? We go on to the next one, approval of payments account for January
Well,
25. So you've virtually done that. So everybody happy with the 25 ones? David, you got a question or you're happy?
Yeah, I'll have me.
Yeah.
For now.
Everybody happy? Yeah.
I'm always happy.
Do you see the bank the commission, the word I can't say, up to the day of the agenda? Everybody happy with that? Yeah.
Yeah.
To agree the next full council meeting, which is the Wednesday, the 12th of February, 2025. Doesn't make you feel old.
No,
We haven't got anything
Never
further
yet.
line, have we? No, so thank you all very much for attending and we'll see you all in February. Don't see you before.